Good episode, by the way. It was actually one of the episodes where I actually listened to it after you did it on your own.
What a friend. What a
I
friend
know.
and what a co-host.
Yeah, I'm that's me. I'm that guy. I have a question for you. I've seen on social media, I don't think you've posted
Okay.
about it necessarily, but I've seen it a lot, and I have no idea what this is. Love is Blind.
Oh
Is this like
man,
one of those
dude.
bachelorette shows? Is that what this kind of is, or what?
I don't know because I've never watched The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. I know what they are, never seen it. I'm
Same,
gonna go
same here.
ahead and say yes. Now,
Okay.
I, however, have watched Love is Blind recently.
On
As you
purpose?
know, well, I'm being a good husband. How about that? How about that? Well,
Okay.
as you know, we just had a baby, so I'm kind of, during prime time, baby time, I'm letting my wife get control of the remote if I'm in the same room with her.
Okay.
She has become attached to this show. It's gross, obviously, but
So, okay, here's the thing. You say this is gross, but apparently this is like everyone's into this, right? And the reason why I say this is because like didn't the storm not like a couple like last week knock the show out and everybody was up in arms about it?
well, I don't know if it was a storm. I know Netflix had so okay. We'll get to that. We'll get to
Okay.
that. Is that what you've seen on social media?
That's part of it. And just
Okay, 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 okay.
yeah, people talking about it, but not enough that I was interested enough to really pay attention to what they're saying.
Okay, so she never watched. It was on season four. This thing that everybody's complaining about on social media. It was season four. It was the reunion show that Netflix wanted to stream live. Now, as you know, Netflix doesn't do anything live. They
Yeah,
don't
that's
do
true.
live
Okay.
streaming.
Yeah.
So they wanted to do this because the show's that popular and it's getting that many views. So my wife never watched the show up until season four. She started watching season four and she got attached to it. Now, as you know, I kind of come in halfway through and I'm, just going, oh God, like I'm keeping my thoughts to myself. But then eventually I can no longer keep my thoughts to myself. And then I actually start watching because I'm in the room, I'm not falling asleep. I'll just watch. And they found the group of the dumbest, most illogical, unethical, immoral, disgusting pigs than they did for this show in the season that I've watched.
Okay.
Everyone is a terrible human being. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So here's what the show is. The idea is that you go to this house, group of guys, group of gals go to this house. They go on dates with each other, but they don't see each other. They go on what are called pods. So it's a room, the girls in one room, the guys in the other room, and they just talk. They just get to know each other without seeing each other. Now you would go, well, that's like a blind date show. Those have been popular since I don't know the 1980s. Hold on now, Colt. Here's the kicker. The idea is that by the end of the time they have going on dates, someone is supposed to propose to someone to marry them after just a few short weeks of speaking to each other on opposite sides of a wall and not seeing each other. Hence the title Love is Blind.
Okay.
You with me so far?
Unfortunately, yes.
So here's the idea. Eventually the guy, it's typically the guys. I think I saw one where the girl may have brought it up first. But anyway, so the guys are like, and here's the gross thing number one is like the guy's like, well, I got like my top three. And then they'll tell these girls like, well, you're in my top three. And these girls are all excited, like, yeah, I'm in his top three. I wonder if he'll propose to me. So once the guy proposes, they then meet face to face for the first time. After they've proposed and the girl has said yes, they come face to face. And you could tell some of the girls and then some of the guys are like, oh, fuck, what did I just do? Right.
Okay.
So then, after everyone's found their partner, their soon to be husband or wife, they all go on a luxurious honeymoon together. Now, when I say together, all of the couples go to the same place and honeymoon at the same place with the intent that we're going to put them all eventually, we're going to liquor them all up eventually, put them all in the same room together and have them see the person they did not pick, but perhaps should have picked. So it just creates this gross, like I said, immoral, gross thing where one of the guys is like, oh, I made a huge mistake. She's hotter, or I made a huge mistake. She's got a fat ass, or I made a huge mistake. I'm not connecting with this girl I'm here with. Maybe I should have proposed to her. And the whole time I'm going, hey, maybe you shouldn't have proposed to anyone. Maybe you should live in the real world for 5 seconds and figure out your own shit. Maybe.
So I've always been curious about these shows. Like, does somebody have to get married? Like, is that a requirement of the show? Like, somebody has to propose to another person? Like, what are the chances that
Oh man, you're
you
such a
one
smart guy. So let me just
one
go ahead and
person
stop you right
what
there.
that one person in a house full of other people, like that you're supposed to marry that one person and like stay together?
Well, look at you using your brain and using logic. Now, they go on this honeymoon. They then go back to, and I'm using serious air quotes here, the real world to start living together. And then they have 4 weeks until their wedding day. Now, it's not set up
They go on
like,
a honeymoon before their wedding?
yes, sir. So now
This
it's
is
not to,
idiotic.
it is my brain goes into atrophy every time it's on. Like I just can't. So like the the idea, it's not a normal wedding. Okay. So the idea is that both of them are still unsure leading up to the wedding day, going into the wedding day, whether they actually want to do it. So you actually do have some folks going, I don't. They don't say I do, they say I don't. So the season that I was able to see, there was this one couple, dude. This is the whole reason I wanted to talk about this for the show. There is this one couple, dude. You could tell that the girl immediately when she saw the guy was like, oh God. But eventually she warmed up to the guy and then sort of, I guess, for the sake of the show, became physically attracted to him. But you could tell the look of horror on her face when she saw the dude. She was like, God, your voice and your personality does not match the way you look. But so they go on this honeymoon and they get along, they don't get along, they fight more than any other couple on the show. But she basically tells him to his face, like, you're not really good in bed. Like, I don't like having sex with you. And then the guy, instead of being like, let me go ahead and leave, he just continues to try to just sweep her off her feet and prove that he is the guy that she thinks he was when she couldn't see his ghoulish face. Right. So, like,
Yeah.
and he's not a ghoul, but the girl was way better looking. Let me just say that.
So
So, like,
how much of this show is scripted, do you think?
it's got to be most of it. But so this couple, this is like, so again, they fight like this. She tells him things like this, and he continues to just push and push and push. Then he tells her, my family doesn't want to meet you. They think the idea of this show is ridiculous. They don't want to meet you. They don't believe in any of this. So it causes another fight to which they both go, yeah, this isn't going to work. Let's not get married. Fast forward to the bachelor party. So now, okay, I guess they're still together. All the guys go on a bachelor party together, and then all the girls go on a bachelorette party together. Totally unnatural, by the way. I've only known these people for a couple of weeks, but let me go ahead and bro down with them. But the dudes get to invite some of their actual friends, right? So this guy that I'm talking about is a part of this terrible couple, terrible, terrible couple. His friend comes up to him and he's like, how did you know? How did you know she was the one? He's like asking his friend questions. And he goes, man, I just got to tell you, like, dude, at first it was rocky because we just didn't see eye to eye. But now, like, dude, things are just clicking. Like, she made me breakfast the other day. And then, like, after that, she asked me what I wanted for dinner. And I'm watching dude, my asshole's puckering up. I'm cringing so hard as I'm watching this. And I'm just like, dude, I hope this guy gets told no on the day of the wedding. Total kick in my ass. He said no. He walked away from
Oh,
this girl. Yeah. See, you're captivated, aren't you? You want to watch the show
no,
now.
I don't.
Dude, it's a shit show. Anyway,
Yeah.
so what happened is what you're seeing on social media. Dude, it's so funny though. Like, dude, she makes me breakfast. Like, this is what I mean. If they can find the dumbest people on earth, she asked me what I wanted for dinner. No shit, really? Whoa, you found a great person.
Yeah. After
So,
she
like,
just told you that she hates sleeping with you.
yeah, yeah. So what was supposed to happen was this live reunion of season 4 live streaming on Netflix, and it never worked. Netflix had technical difficulties, and there were just
Oh, I
millions
see.
upon millions of people. And I'm just wondering, like, how many women were just that got so attached to the show were just sitting there staring at a blank Netflix error with the wheel spinning for hours.
Just
Like
hoping.
they
Just
couldn't turn it
waiting.
off because they didn't want to miss 1 second. I was like, again, being a good sport, my wife wanted to watch it. And I was like, okay. And she hit it, wouldn't work. 5 minutes later, we go back to it. And she finally gave up. And I was like, what are you going to do if it turns on? She's like, I'm like, okay, you're one of the good ones. You're not going to be one of the ones staring at a spinning wheel. Like, yeah, dude, it's And you don't, it's not like this is the first reality show to really test the waters of being gross, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever see, there was a show, I only saw like 5 minutes of it one time, and I just couldn't believe it was a real thing. It was called Bad Girls Club.
I've never
They
heard of that.
basically find the biggest monsters on earth and throw them all in a house together and just get them booze the fuck up, and all they do is fight. Like it's literally just broken glass and high heels flying around the entire time. It is reality TV is just, can you like think about where we came from, like how far we've come with reality TV? Like
Yeah.
starting with like Cops and The Real World to where we are now. Love is Blind, go watch it.
Yeah. So, okay, you have Hulu, right?
I do.
Okay. So, um, okay, as far as Netflix goes, does Netflix are they doing the whole like like putting out an episode a week thing also, or is that just like Hulu now? Or no, maybe it's not Hulu, maybe it's
Well,
Apple TV. Apple
Apple
TV is
TV
doing it.
does it.
I just
Can you
kind of
watch Dave? You can't watch Dave on any other, because if you don't have FX, you can get FX through Hulu. Like I just watched the latest episode of Dave. So they do it episode by episode. But that's because it's FX. But I guess
okay.
I could have watched it live yesterday, but anyway, you get what I'm saying.
I just think it's kind of weird that we're like coming full circle back to what cable does. Because like that was
Yeah.
what streaming was, right? It was like all for the binging. Like
Right.
you get a season at a time, or you get all the seasons at one time where you can binge all through it. And now we're getting to like where we're back to one show a week. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it a little bit. Like, and the reason why I say that is because I'm watching Ted Lasso, the new season of
Yeah.
that. And it's like I'm actually excited for Wednesday night to watch an episode of this. I think
Yeah.
that'll go away because I would have been just as excited if like the whole season came out, but then again, I'd probably be through it already. So,
How do you feel about the new season?
ugh.
I haven't watched the latest episodes.
I'm not as big of a fan of it because it's more about drama than it is about like actual soccer, if
I
that
think the
makes any
entire
sense.
show's about that. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying.
I mean, it is, but they pushed a lot farther away from the core of the show, I think, this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to tend to agree. I'm kind of getting to the point where I maybe don't care. I'll still watch it, but I don't need to see it. I don't need to see the newest episode right away. I always forget, honestly. I go, oh yeah, there's a new Ted Lasso. Let me go ahead and it's okay. I think it's
Yeah.
always been okay to me. There are some like, in my opinion, shining stars of the show, like you said, Coach Beard and
Yeah.
like Roy Kent is awesome. Danny is awesome, but you know, it's okay. No, I'm sorry, not watching. Watch. Did you watch Blackbird on Apple TV yet?
No, I haven't
Dude,
had a chance to.
fuck, it's so good. It's my favorite show since Ozark.
Wow.
Easily. It's really
Wow.
good. I'll give you the quick rundown of what it is. So essentially you have
Well,
a guy.
first off, I need to know how did you just come across it randomly, or did you see it on social media or something, or
No,
why?
we're on Apple TV. We watched Ted Lasso, and then we were just kind of like looking like, God, look at all this stuff that we've never heard of.
Dude,
Never.
I can't do that. There's so much crap out there. There's
Like
so
the
like
show with Harrison Ford
Hulu
and
and
Jason
Netflix and
Segel. I had no idea that existed.
oh yeah,
Um,
I watched like 3 or 4 episodes of that. It's okay.
so we started watching the show with Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell, and I
I've
was annoyed after the first episode, and then my wife got into like 4, I think, and she was like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm like, what? She's like, it's just annoying. Like it's
really
an annoying story. So essentially, let me tell you about Blackbird first. So Blackbird, it takes place. You got a guy who is a cocaine dealer in Chicago in the 80s, like late 80s, right? And he gets arrested, gets convicted, goes to prison. Well, the FBI goes to him in prison and says, we will essentially reduce your sentence to 0 if you can help us. We're going to send you to a different prison, and we need to get you a confession from a guy who has been serial raping and murdering girls. So essentially, we're going to pull you from this prison. We're going to send you to this other one. We need you to make friends with this guy and get the locations of the potential bodies that we think there are, so that we can keep him there, because he was up for appeal, and they thought that the serial killer was up for appeal, and they thought he was going to get out of prison, right?
okay. Yeah.
So the whole reason they chose this dude who was the coke dealer is because he's charismatic, he's like good looking, like everybody just loves him. Like, and you honestly kind of felt like when he got arrested, you're like, I kind of feel bad. Like he seems like a really good dude, despite the fact that he's a coke dealer. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like he was just it was one of those like characters.
Yeah.
But you kind of they build that part of him as the show kind of progresses. Like they kind of push him to be in the beginning like this kind of arrogant, sort of like hotshot, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want kind of guy.
Mhm.
And as the show goes, you start to learn like this guy's actually a good guy. He just went down a path to get rich. I mean, you know,
Right.
so that's the whole plot line there is they want to send him to this prison, and if he gets the confession that they need or the locations that they need, they're just set him free. But the main character is the dude that I didn't even know. I mean, you wouldn't even know by watching this, but did you watch the Elton John movie?
A little bit.
Oh, you did. So it's the dude that played Elton John. This is
Okay.
the main character, main dude, and he's all like, I wouldn't even know because he's all jacked in this show, and like it doesn't even look like the dude who would play out. Like I wouldn't even have. Ray Liotta's in it. Ray Liotta's awesome, and so the dude, the serial killer, is Keith from what's the MMA show you like and I hate?
Kingdom.
Kingdom. You
Yeah.
know, remember the character Keith that lived with
Oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the serial killer in this show.
I could see
Yeah,
that. I could definitely
it
see that.
he's good. He's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Now you could see it because you know, like that guy's creepy in everything he does. Well,
Yeah.
super creepy in this. So yeah, watch it. It's really good. But yeah, the Will Ferrell Paul Rudd show, you know, again, Apple TV has all this stuff. I'm like, how have I like I don't spend majority of my time like seeking out new shows or sitting on social media and waiting for people to tweet or Facebook about these things. But there were so many where I'm like, I look at my wife, I'm like, have you heard of this? She's like, no, I have no idea what this is. So we're thinking Paul Rudd, Will Ferrell, kind of sounds like a win-win. Phew, man, it was tough. It was just tough all around. Essentially, Will Ferrell plays a guy who's just like takes over the family business and he's just lacking confidence. He just like lets everyone walk all over him. Paul Rudd is a shrink who he goes to see, and Paul Rudd starts like challenging him to kind of just do things that he normally wouldn't do. And he kind of just starts manipulating him and taking advantage of him. I didn't even get that far into the show. My wife did, and she was like, yeah, eventually I'm just like, this just makes me feel weird. Like, yeah, I get it. That's the way I feel watching Love is Blind.
Yeah.
Makes me
Well,
feel
that's
beyond
kind of
weird.
where that the show you were talking about, shrinking with um
Yeah, that
J-
looked.
Jason Segal. I don't know. It gets pretty deep pretty fast.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I kind of pushed away from it.
But I have something that bothers me about that. All I did was we just watched the trailer for that.
Uh-huh.
Can you think back of all the things that Jason Segel has been in? How many times have you seen in a trailer for one of his movies or anything like that, him on a bike running into a car?
Is that common?
I think I can go to two hands on the amount of times that I've seen
Really?
that. Yeah.
Really?
And when I saw it in this trailer, I go, I don't want to watch this. I don't I don't want to watch typical Jason Segel in a show like this. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe eventually I will. Oh, I'm so glad we talked about shows and movies. So, have you seen 48 Hours? It's Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte. It's from the 80s. Classic
Uh,
80s movie.
I don't think so.
We were talking about Blackbird and convicts and jail and stuff, and it's what made me think of this. But so essentially, Eddie Murphy's a con, Nick Nolte's a cop. Nick Nolte uses Eddie Murphy to catch these two guys who are, you know, kind of the same plot line as I just discussed. Like Eddie Murphy's a convict, but he's going to help Nick Nolte, the cop, get information to solve a crime. So like, and it's early Eddie Murphy too. Like he's super young in it. But I hadn't seen it in so long, but it was on the other day, and I put it on. It was probably about a quarter of the way through, and dude, the level of the racist shit that came out of Nick Nolte's mouth directed at Eddie Murphy, I was fucking like, oh my God. Like, how you think about it
Well,
now and you're like, how did
yeah.
we how did we do this?
Yeah.
Dude, the amount of times the N-word is thrown around, like that you can imagine. But dude, some of the other things that he called him, I'm just like, whoa. Use your imagination. I don't want to say I'm on the podcast, but use your imagination. I was
Yeah.
just like, holy shit, we got away with this in a lot of movies, like
Yeah.
a lot of movies and a lot of shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like,
which
oh my God, I forgot how racist this was.
I'm kind of surprised that they even put shows like that. I mean, I know they don't want to erase the shows or the movies and
Yeah.
stuff, but still, in the age we live in now, the fact that regardless of if it was 40 years ago, it's still, I don't know, it's weird.
It's, I was like, man, I forgot. And, as a kid, I'm watching this as a kid, not even thinking, like I have a bad feeling about it, right? But I'm not even thinking about when I'm older, is this going to be okay? Like, you don't think that way,
Yeah.
right? But it's so funny. Like, there's a scene in the movie where Nick Nolte kind of like essentially apologizes to Eddie Murphy for being a fucking racist piece of shit. But he goes, it's all, Nick Nolte's got that deep, gargly voice, and he's like, it's all about just trying to do my job. And, sometimes I get caught up. And Eddie Murphy's like, yeah, but I guess your job, he says something like, I guess your job isn't that important or something. And then Nick Nolte's like, you might be right. And then Eddie Murphy just out of nowhere does that laugh. He does that, that laugh he does.
Yeah.
I'm like, what just happened? Like, you dismissed the racism that quickly? Come on, Eddie Murphy. I don't know. I couldn't. You got to go back and there's another old movie like that was on recently, and I remember going, oh,
That was just the time, though. I mean, and it was more. I don't know. It was normal, I guess. Like it was more normal for racism to be a thing. I mean, not that it's not here still, but I mean, I don't know. It was much worse back there, but much more back then, but much more accepted.
Oh,
I
here's the
think.
movie. Holy shit! Have you seen the movie The Toy with Richard Pryor?
A long time ago, yeah, but it's also Richard
Dude,
Pryor. So what do you expect?
dude,
Yeah.
the shit that happened in that movie. For those that don't know, The Toy essentially is a movie where Richard Pryor gets hired by by a wealthy white man to be essentially his young son's living plaything, his toy, and he can do whatever he wants with him. Also, be as racist as he wants to him. Everyone in the house. Dude, that
Yeah.
movie is crazy. Speaking of crazy in the times, how many Bud Lights have you crushed since the last time?
All of them. All of them.
You've crushed all the Bud Lights. Now you've crushed them like you've thrown them on the ground in disgust, or you've actually drank them.
Neither. I don't care.
Bud Light's terrible. It
Yeah,
really is a shit beer.
Bud Light is awful. Do you know what I've been drinking a lot of lately? And I don't even know if you like this beer or not. Do you like Yingling?
I don't really like it that much. It's okay. It's
Really?
okay. I don't go as crazy about it as people from this state do, because you do, remember when people go out of state to get it and they're like, I'm bringing back cases of Yingling. I'm like, it's not that great, but okay. Enjoy.
I was always the type to, like, if I went to a state that had it, I would definitely make it a priority to get some.
Yeah, it's
but
okay.
I wasn't, like, loading my car up with it. But now that they're distributing to Missouri, I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about Bud Light's Anheuser-Busch's stock going down and all that?
I think they'll rebound.
Yes, they will. That's how the stock market works.
Yeah.
So you
but it I don't know.
well, here's the thing. With a company that large, that's worth so much money, that makes so much money,
Mhm.
you know that they're going to do things to just to revitalize the stock and revitalize their presence in the marketplace, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I said, when you sent me that text explaining that, which, by the way, I didn't think twice about it, because when you are a company that large, worth that much money, if you are on the negative turn of the news cycle, your stock does go down. Your stock can potentially take a dip, but it'll go back up. But what I was thinking is like, all I got to do is just put out a commercial with fucking Peyton Manning in it or something, and everything will be fine. But instead, everybody's still bent out of shape about them. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm like, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but when we talked about this, the one thing I didn't say that I wanted to say, but we got so caught up in the conversation that I forgot. The one thing that people aren't thinking about is, like, they're hung up on the idea that Bud Light put a trans person on a can. It wasn't even a marketing campaign, by the way. It's not like there's this large push where you can go into a 7-Eleven right now, buy a case of Bud Light, and Dylan Mulvaney's going to be on the can. It was just for that person, right?
Yeah.
because they knew that that person's an influencer, and they would essentially share the idea with their collective group of fans and followers and whatever else. And then perhaps Bud Light would get a little crossover love from the people who support this trans influencer, right?
Yeah.
Now, do I think everybody was sitting in the boardroom with computers out, taking notes on this and weighing the pros and cons and really thinking hard about this? No.
I mean, their marketing team had to know that backlash was going to be coming, right? Do you think that
Here's what I think.
Do you think they didn't judge it right?
What I think they didn't judge right is that they selected a silly goose to be on a can that would then talk about it.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Not trans. Forget about trans, gay, straight, white, black. Again, like I said on the last episode, they selected kind of a dummy to be on the can.
Yeah.
It just so happens that that dummy is trans. And that, of course, is going to ruffle the feathers of some of the stockholders.
Yeah.
Naturally. But like nobody talked about that. But I said, like, just put fucking Peyton and Eli Manning in a commercial. Your stock's going to be up before you know it. But they did do a commercial, which I want to play for you.
But what I was going to say was, you know, I understand if the money's right, anybody will do it probably. But do you, if you're an athlete or something, do you want to be the next person that, no matter what the money is, do you want to be the next person that Bud Light is sponsoring or putting out there in a commercial or something like that? Because are you actually fixing the news cycle in that instance, or no?
Well, my rebuttal to that was going to be, do you want to get paid? Okay. But you said regardless of the amount of money.
But then you're also going to be criticized by all the people who are hating on the, you know, on this whole situation. You're going to be criticized because you are doing a commercial for Bud Light, who also supports this.
No, you're not. Not if you're already a national sports hero. Why would you get criticized? Like if
you will. It's definitely there. You know that.
If Pat Mahomes did a Bud Light commercial tomorrow, do you think he's going to be criticized?
Probably.
By whom?
Not by everyone, by the same people who are criticizing Bud Light right now.
You don't think he would turn some people?
He might.
Well, let me here's my point. So those same people who are criticizing him, are they going to stop going to games at Arrowhead? Because you know what you're going to find everywhere at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City? Fucking Bud Light ads, Bud Light signs, Bud Light taps, Bud Light this, Bud Light that.
Yeah.
So do you really care that much? No, you don't. It's like I said about Kid Rock. Are you going to stop serving Anheuser-Busch products at your fucking restaurants? And doubtful, which I haven't seen. Obviously, if he had actually done that, we would know that, right?
Yeah, we had talked about that, but I haven't seen that being a news article or anything like that. But you know, that's kind of the weird thing too, and I don't think we talked about that last time. But like, that's not just Bud Light. I mean, that is Anheuser in general. Correct. Now, I know that in Kid Rock's in his video that he made, he said fuck Anheuser-Busch and fuck Bud Light. I get it. But shouldn't people be mad at all of Anheuser products versus just Bud Light?
Yeah, somehow people
are they validating that I'm drinking Budweiser, I'm not drinking Bud Light?
Yeah. Yeah, somehow these dummies, somehow these dummies are like, Bud Light's a separate company of Anheuser. Like, no, they're not. It's a type of product they have. It all comes from the same place. Well, speaking of those, I want to get to the commercial because, like I said, all Bud Light had to do was kind of revitalize the brand by putting in some sort of someone who's, you know, the polar opposite. Now, but again, not being negative about it, but the polar opposite of the person who's everyone is upset about. But did you see that the, you know your country better than I do, Brantley Gilbert, is that his name? Yeah.
I seen a headline for this, and that there's quite a bit of irony that goes along with this, but
yeah, he crushed a Bud Light can while he was covering a Queen song. You big dumb oaf. You big dumb pig. Like what? This is what I'm saying. Like you don't
First question: why is Brantley Gilbert covering a Queen song?
Because Queen's awesome, and if you want to get people into your shows, you cover Queen.
I'm not.
It happened during Gilbert's.
I'm not saying. I'm not diminishing on, or I'm not downplaying Queen. I'm saying Brantley Gilbert probably shouldn't attempt to cover.
I don't know.
Queen.
What does he sound like?
I don't know. I'm just assuming.
Yeah, you do.
I really don't. I couldn't tell you one song that he sings.
The video shared on TikTok finds Gilbert with the beer can already in his hand, and his band plays a hard edge version of Another One Bites the Dust. Gilbert says, yeah, fuck that, and throws the can to the ground. After that, Gilbert has tossed another beer in a silver can. He throws it to his drummer and urges him to shotgun it. So was he saying, yeah, oh, here's the video. Should we watch the video? Do we really want to see this? Yeah, let's watch it.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
Yeah, let's watch it. Also, when did country artists start looking like this guy? That's what I want to know.
Of course.
What do you mean? Because he's all tattooed up and cut off shirt and all that?
Yeah, like what happened?
I think there's a few guys out there like that.
Of course there is. All right, here we go. You ready? Someone threw someone threw it to him. Ah, the plot thickens.
Do you think that was somebody planted in the crowd?
Yeah, that's his fucking tour manager. We're going to get so many views on TikTok. You ready? Here it comes. A BL right at your face. By the way, what a good song. And I'm really upset that his band is just butchering it right now. Anyway. I don't like anything about this guy.
Not a fan.
Oh, man. What a rebel. So, like, yeah, fuck that what? So if you drink that, people are going to post this video and people are going to say, oh, he supports trans now. Whoever posted this, I'm sorry, hold on. Whoever posted this, their hashtags are Bud Light, Miller Time, FYP, Brantley Gilbert. Miller Time. I drink Miller Light instead. Oh, good hands, feet. What's that one?
So here's the deal. If he, say that wasn't somebody planted, say that was somebody actually in the crowd that threw that to him, what do you do? I mean, you have two options, right? You just put the Bud Light down and act like it didn't happen.
Fucking drink it,
or you
childish
fucking... Or you drink it. But what I'm saying is, you know how the media works. And if he would have just shotgunned the Bud Light, now he loves Bud Light and he is for, the whole trans situation.
I'm going to book a show, and I swear to Christ, I'm going to make a mic stand out of Bud Light cans. And all I'm going to do is crush Bud Lights on stage. I'm not even going to do a performance. It's just going to be me drinking Bud Light, talking to the audience. That's what I'm going to do. Kind of like a Q&A, like a Henry Rollins type TED Talk. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Well, that guy's a dummy. But the other good thing is, not good thing. I'm sorry. The other funny thing is, like I said, like Bud Light, they were going to try to get ahead of this, which, by the way, like they released a couple of statements, and the statements are so disingenuous, much like this video. Have you seen this Budweiser commercial?
I have. Do you have a statement like ready to go? Because I haven't seen it.
No, I'll find. We could find it. It would be easy to find. Ugh.
Let me tell you a story.
Do you like hate everything about this video? I'm curious.
I hate it. Can't stand it. Yeah, it bothers me.
Is it okay? Go. Let's play the whole thing and then we'll.
I live 10 minutes from the brewery.
Yeah.
This should make me excited, as like some sort of like civic pride. Like this is my town. Like we produced this. We're the ones that did this. But I'm like, yeah, but this is fake. This is phony. This is Bud Light. Like this is not what Anheuser-Busch is anymore. We got to watch more though.
About a beer rooted in the heart of America, found in a community where a handshake is a sure contract.
That was beautiful though. Black and white with the Clydesdale running by. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
That's poetic.
They know what they're doing.
Brewed for those who found opportunity in challenge and hope in tomorrow. Raised by generations, willing to sip, share, risk, remember. This is a story bigger than beer. This is the story of the American spirit.
I guess. I don't. Sure. I don't. I just don't understand why they had to like. I don't understand why they had to. Why they felt they had to backtrack. I honestly thought it would have been fucking gangster if they'd just been like, "Yeah, we."
Why do you feel? Why do you feel like they're backtracking?
Well, they are. They're trying to cover their. Well, let me find a statement then, because they're trying to cover their bases and be like, "No, no, no."
But some of the things that they're saying kind of goes along with the trans thing, as far as like the hope and
Yeah,
the.
but they're not being as transparent about it with an ad like that. And that's what I was saying. Like if you did an ad with somebody like an American sports hero, you could play it like this is for everyone, but you don't have to say it.
And I
Right?
don't think you can do it that fast. I think you have to let all of this stuff
Oh,
die
man.
before you, because if you do it that fast, everybody's going to see through it and they're going to be like, "Oh, you understand that you made a mistake and you're taking a hit for it. Now you're trying to make it look like that didn't happen."
Anti-trans backlash hit Bud Light following an April 1st Instagram post from Mulvaney promoting the beer, in which she showed a custom can that Bud Light sent to her as a gift to mark a milestone of her transition. Again, why does anyone care about that? Why? You're not going to go to the store and pick up one of these cans. Like, it was a gift to that specific person. Why does anyone care?
And actually, I'm going to be honest, when we talked about that last time, I was not aware of that. I was
Yeah,
not
dude.
aware that this was just one can. I
I
didn't
felt
find that
like
out until later.
I felt like we said that at some point, but maybe we didn't.
If we did, I skipped over it in my head because literally didn't know that until later.
We never intended to be part of it. This is what Anheuser-Busch said. This is the one I was looking for because I remember this was from the CEO, Brendan Whitworth. We never intended to be part of a discussion that divides people. We are in the business of bringing people together over a beer. He added that the company has a proud history supporting our communities, military, first responders, sports fans, and hardworking Americans everywhere. Now, the last part of that statement is so foolish and so misguided as to what the real issue and the real problem that they're having is. It's like, why did you even say that?
Okay, read that last part one more time.
So the last part is the company has a proud history supporting our communities, military, first responders, sports fans, and hardworking Americans everywhere.
Yeah, if that's a
Why?
statement about what's going on, that makes no sense.
But that's a weak statement. You're not addressing the problem. Here's what I
Right.
think they should have done. And I thought it would have been gangster. They should have been like, hey guys, we gave a trans person a can with their face on it. Fuck off. Get over it.
And then show the
You're
Clyde
not going to
in the
shut
background.
down Bud Light because you're upset about something so stupid. What's your favorite beer?
Um,
I really didn't think you'd have to think that hard.
I
What's
know.
your
Well,
favorite, like, just basic beer?
as of right now,
Busch?
it's probably yeah. Busch is probably my go-to.
Okay,
Yeah,
Anheuser-Busch.
yeah.
So would you stop drinking Busch if they put a trans person's face on a can? And let's just say it was for mass consumption. Next time you go buy a case, you're going to see this person's face on it.
Well, no, but I don't think you can.
But you
ask
can say
me or
yes
you-
if that's the way you really feel.
Well, I know that, but I don't think we can ask me or you that question
Why?
because we know what the answer is going to be. We don't care. I mean, it's literally the same scenario as it being on Bud Light.
But here's something to think about. If it's a national campaign, what is the message behind it? Meaning it's not just a can created for one person that they're going to see, they're going to have. What is the message behind a national campaign? Does that impact your decision to further be a consumer of that product? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I understand what you're saying. To me, no, it doesn't affect me because it's
Okay.
literally just a can.
So why did we pull Aunt Jemima off the shelves?
I'm gonna let you handle.
This silence is great. I love it.
I'll let you handle this one.
Don't edit that out. I love it. I just wanted to bring that up one time because that was so like they're not.
What was the
I know.
other one around that time? Oh, Uncle Ben's.
Uncle Ben's.
Or no,
Yeah.
no, wait. Did they take Uncle Ben's off?
Bro.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, they did.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, what was it, like 2 years ago? Because we talked about it. I remember.
Oh, I remember. Trying to fucking cancel breakfast, bro. What the fuck are we doing? Whatever, man. This is all, you know. There are things that I could say about the stock price and the stock and it's all boring stuff, and I don't want to say it on this podcast because I don't want to turn it into a conversation where the reality of the situation is ignored because the conversation then turns into, will a multi-billion-dollar product and company survive the backlash of Kid Rock and Brantley Gilbert and Ron DeSantis? Yes, they will.
Let me ask you
It's
this.
so
And
it's so silly to think about.
I don't know if this is a good comparison or not, but I'm curious. What if it was let's say it was Nike, okay? Let's
Okay.
say they sent
Oof.
it was the same scenario. It was like the 1 year mark of their transition,
Yep.
and it was an athlete, and they sent a
Let me
pair
get some shoes.
sent a pair of shoes with their face on the shoe. And then that person went and made a video showing that Nike supports them. Do you think you think a bunch like Kid Rock would have put on a pair of shoes of Nikes or shot up a pair of Nikes or something? Like, do you think it would have
Fucking
been the
better
same
not.
thing?
I'll shoot him if he does that. Shoot fucking good pair.
You know what I'm saying though? Do you think it's the same thing?
It could potentially be. I don't know. I really don't know.
Hmm.
I mean, Nike has plenty of other reasons to boycott other than their wokeness, which is
Yeah.
essentially what, dummies like Ron DeSantis are saying. Is like, not Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch is too woke now. I'm no longer a customer. It's like, fine, they'll survive without you, you dummy.
Yeah.
And the 400,000 people who you probably influenced to not drink Anheuser-Busch products, they'll survive.
Yeah.
Now, someone will go, well, 400,000 people, that's a lot of people. No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's really not. Now, when it comes to the people that
There's 400,000 people in the city where the
Right.
fucking brewery is.
Right. Yeah.
Like, come on. It'll be okay.
Right. Speaking of Nike, have you? Well, I guess it's in theater, so you probably haven't. But do you have any interest to see Air?
No, I think it looks
Movie Air?
corny.
Really?
I think it looks corny as fuck.
I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Like what?
I mean, just that it's a really good movie. I mean, it has the
Other-
people. It has the people in it to be a good movie. I mean,
I mean, yeah. I mean, the cast is good. I just think it looks corny.
yeah. Have you heard that they're putting out is it a documentary or I think it's a movie about Dennis Rodman and the Vegas trip? And I mean, nobody really knows, right? Like what happened, or do they? And they just haven't really said it.
Wait, do I know what you're talking about? What Vegas trip? What are you talking about?
So like in the Last Dance, whenever he just left, when he said he asked to leave and he left for like a couple of days and nobody could talk to him.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I think they're putting out a movie about that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, are they going to toe the line or actually tell the real story?
I don't
That's the
know.
question.
That's a good question.
Wait, a movie or a documentary?
That's what I'm not 100% on. Should we just look this
fuck
up?
that. Yeah, let's
Like
look it up.
Google's a thing, dude, right?
If it's a movie, I am not watching it.
I wonder who would play Dennis Rodman.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It was the first person that came to mind. I'm an idiot. Jonathan Majors to star. Oh, I don't know about that anymore. That guy got canceled real quick, didn't he? Jonathan Majors to star as Dennis Rodman. Oh, I did. You know what? I remember seeing something about this. You know who Jonathan Majors is, right? The dude in Creed 3 who just got arrested for domestic violence.
Oh, okay.
He was in the Ant-Man movie. He was in like an army commercial that got pulled already.
Oh, bro, it's always slow and steady, but it's like, yeah, I'm gonna get. Hopefully, I get to sit with him and chat with him, when we get closer, and trying to get the script right, all these things, all these industry things. But I never really put a ceiling on myself, but this is definitely a role where I'm definitely gonna make sure I'm pushing that ceiling out, because he demands that. He's such a full individual, so he's gonna demand a lot, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that, so
if you make it there. Yeah, that guy's in a lot of trouble right now. Yeah,
so what you said domestic violence was like on a girlfriend or something, or?
It's been more than 3 weeks since Majors was arrested for an alleged domestic dispute, but the 33-year-old's career is now starting to take a hit. Dropped by his manager and publicist on Monday, considering the actor's first court date is still weeks away. The relationship between Majors was arrested on March 25th for allegedly attacking a 30-year-old female. A lawyer for the Marvel star previously told Yahoo he completely denies assaulting the woman, said she expects her client to be cleared of all assault and harassment charges. But it seems some in the industry don't want to wait. And apparently more stories of abuse have come out too. So, as always,
Yeah, of course.
when there's one, there's 10 to follow.
Of course.
Let's talk about something fun. So, tell me about Coachella. You watched, I think I sent you the video. Did you watch Blink at that?
I did.
What are your thoughts?
Did it feel odd to you? I mean, I know it's like a
Eh.
reunion. It's a reunion thing, but I don't know. It just kind of felt like, and maybe it's because I haven't watched a whole lot of like live Blink stuff. It just felt like each one of the guys was doing their own thing, if that makes sense.
For sure. And that was the tail end of the band before Tom left anyway.
That's how it was before also? Is that what you're saying?
What I remember seeing, yeah.
Okay.
But
Oh, I'm sure.
dude, I'm sure they got paid well to do that.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I mean, it was cool to see. So let me.
I did not
Let me
think
say
that I don't know if it was the sound at Coachella or if it was just a live. Again, I haven't heard much live stuff because I haven't watched many videos or seen them live, but Tom did not sound great to me live.
Never does.
He doesn't? Okay. Didn't know if that was a thing or not.
It never usually does. No.
Okay.
You kind of just take what you get, take what you can get from him. There have been times where I've heard him sound pretty good, and then sometimes it's just like, yeah, dude doesn't have it tonight. But I thought the video that I saw of them at that show, he was okay in some songs. Some songs were bad, but I also got the sense where I don't know that he was having the best time. I think he was earning a paycheck, which in music is a bummer. That is a bummer.
Yeah.
You know, but I will say that, Travis is always a great drummer. He's always like, his playing's always good and he sounds good. And I think Mark is just a fun guy. And I think he genuinely enjoys that band and playing music live. But yeah, I think the whole situation felt weird. But what do I know?
This
I wasn't there.
just like a one-time thing, or are they going to be touring?
I think, well, no, they're doing that. They already announced that tour. Remember because the people were complaining about the ticket prices and stuff. Like tickets were like $2,500 and
That's right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
But before I say this, let me just point out that I'm not a big fan of Coachella. I know it's huge. I know it's a great destination festival for young people to go to, but to me, it's more of a culture fest and not a music fest, in my opinion.
I mean, it's definitely,
which is okay.
It's definitely varied as far as like all the people that are on the bill and stuff. Like I was looking at the bill earlier, and out of like all the bands and artists, I think I knew like 8.
Well, you're not young, hip, and cool, and
it's very true.
You don't have your finger on the pulse. So
that's true. I'm as far away from that as possible, I think. But
you need to be on TikTok more. But like, but the reason I say this is because I have not been to Coachella, but I know people that have gone, and the people that I know that have gone were more there to say that they were at Coachella than to actually be at Coachella.
Right.
Does that make sense what I just said?
Yeah.
Okay. And I feel like the majority of that audience it's more about, let me go ahead and IG story the fact that I was at Coachella, than let me go ahead and IG story the fact that I saw Blink-182 at Coachella.
Right.
What I do like, though, is that Coachella had a band like Blink-182, and you genuinely saw the love they were getting from the crowd.
Yeah.
Meaning you had a shit ton of people going, fuck, listen to all these songs we remember, or listen to all these songs we heard. Like, I also want to thank Coachella for having the band Knocked Loose on the festival. The fact that they had a band like that on the festival was so cool. I never thought I would see that, and they were getting a great reaction. So I had to wonder, almost like, whoa, is Coachella changing a little bit? Or is it just the idea that like there was this band they put on who perhaps like has sort of like their own like cult-ish type following, and all the other kids are just getting into it because, or is this a thing now? But I think what made it a thing, though, is that Billie Eilish was on stage kind of like rocking out to it. which don't get me started. But anyway, that's almost as bad as having Miley Cyrus on stage rocking out to you. But you know who Knocked Loose is, right?
I know the name of the band.
Okay. Well,
Would I know a song from them?
they had a song called Manipulator that I think was like pretty big on like social media. Yeah, I think so. But I don't know. I mean, they're a hardcore / metalcore band.
Okay.
It was just cool to see a band like that on Coachella because it doesn't happen.
Right.
So to see them get a reaction to, you can find the video. Well, fuck that. Let's find a video. What are we doing? So, yeah, sounds great. Stupid fan videos. But anyway, the fact that a band like that was at Coachella just makes me so happy. So happy.
Where's Coachella at? Or that's the same spot every year, right?
Yeah, it's in California, in the fucking desert. You know.
Okay.
Which is also kind of funny to see because it is like totally remote, and you have all of these like Instagram models and girls like in their like nice little dresses, and they're like, "Get me," and it's like you're gonna be so dirty by the end of the day. It's hilarious. Whatever. Yeah, Blink-182. I guess well, you know what's kind of funny is we brought up before like nostalgia stuff when it comes to music festivals and stuff. It's like, is Blink-182 still relevant with young people, or is it more of a nostalgia thing?
I think it's
because I remember when I saw
nostalgia.
them, the last time that I saw them in St. Louis, which was fairly recently. I feel like it was 2018-ish. They had A Day to Remember play with them. Dude, there was a lot of young kids. And I was like, God damn! Like I don't know. You would think that your generation would be the biggest Blink fans, right?
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I could see the Blink-182 sound being able to transcend the ages, if that makes sense. Like I could see it.
Did you just say
I could see it lasting
transcend the ages?
Yeah, did that make sense? I'm not sure. If that made sense.
Please elaborate. That was poetic and beautiful, and I might cry. Please tell me more about that.
Yeah. No, I just mean I think that I could see their sound like continuing on to where even the younger generation is still listening to it.
Well, that's why I was asking.
Yeah,
and you so beautifully said they transcended the ages.
Yeah,
man, I'm so happy with you right now. I'm like a proud father with that statement. Yeah, I think you're right. To be honest, I think that's what it is.
It's a certain sound. Like even all the other bands around that time like didn't have it. I mean, I don't think they had as distinct of a sound and a style as what Blink does.
Yeah, I mean, well, dude, I think at the end of the day, I feel like some of those old Blink songs will kind of stand the test of time and be relevant with young kids still because of the subject matter of the songs and the overall catchiness of the songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that you're right. I think you're right. They have transcended the ages. A statement that I will never forget for the rest of my life. Before we get out of here, you brought up something to me a while back. Did you watch the Punk Rock NBA episode with Doc Coyle?
I didn't watch it. I listened to it, but
well, I'm sorry. Yeah. Did you listen to it?
I did.
What are some of your takeaways? Because I have not listened to it yet. I did watch a clip on YouTube about something that he and Finn McKenty talked about that I kind of want to bring up, but what are your takeaways from that?
It was not the typical interview that I was expecting, but he's been on the show several times, I think. But they got really into like racism in the industry and things along those lines. It wasn't just like interviewing him about like what the band's doing and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I think we'd be better off if you do listen to it. And then we kind of talk about it because I probably need to. It was a long episode too, so I don't want to talk out of turn or anything. So
why would you be talking out of turn?
Because I want to remember exactly what what each of them were saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I still want to listen to it, but I think like what I found interesting.
So what was
Did
in the
you know who Doc Coyle was before listening to that?
No, I mean I know I know he's in Bad Wolves, but I didn't know
God
I didn't
forbid.
know his name before. Yeah.
Yeah. He, for them to talk about racism and metal, like, God forbid, I want to say, if I'm remembering correct, it's been so long since I even thought about that band, which is sad to say, but I've seen them live like 2 or 3 times. Most of the people in that band are people of color. So I think it's natural for him to kind of bring this up in conversation, which I think is a good conversation to have. Because you can imagine they kind of deal with different shit than your run of the mill metal band. But
Which I thought something that was funny was he did bring up Tommy Vex, and Doc was very quick at saying, I just want to say that he would basically was saying he was not that politically motivated until the very end.
yeah,
He basically said like we had conversations all the time and he was never that way until the very end.
I wonder what turned. Could be the girlfriend he had.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
But yeah, but the clip that I watched was they were talking about the band Sleep Token, and just the idea is like, are they saving metalcore?
So I
And
actually downloaded that album. Yes, I said downloaded. I downloaded that album from Sleep
the
Token.
latest Sleep Token, you like it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's different.
It's good. No, they're
Yeah.
really good. I don't this this conversation of like bands needing to be the saviors of anything in music, especially rock or metal. It's like, what are they saving it from? And what's the end result of them saving it? You know? I
Yeah.
just this whole idea that like any type of music is dead and it takes a band to sort of revitalize it. I don't know that I agree with, because there are thousands and thousands of bands doing the sound and doing what they do that I think like if people just tried harder than getting the everyday Spotify playlist of all the same stuff, they would know about some of these bands and they would realize that, yeah, there's just so much out there. And maybe I'm thinking about this in a very simplistic way, but it's always like, does metalcore need a savior? Does rock and roll need a savior? Like we've talked about before with like an artist like Machine Gun Kelly, who were like he sold a ton of records and it was a rock record. Like, is this good to have a rock record do so well in the mainstream? I'm like, well, isn't it good for a rock record to do well, period? Right?
It is,
Why
but
does it
don't you
have to
think
have a specific purpose? Like, why can't it just be what it is? And why can't it just do well? And if it doesn't do well, spread the fucking word.
but don't you think you're only going to hear somebody in the industry saying things like this band is a savior for this genre or something like that? Like you're not going to hear your everyday, somebody who's a big fan of Sleep Token, you're not going to hear them say, "Oh, they're going to save this genre of music."
Yeah, but how many of their fans don't mind hearing that? Or how many potential new fans can be gained by hearing something like that? You downloaded the record after hearing that conversation.
I did.
So they got you. I mean, it's
For
not
me,
like you bought it.
for me, it was
but
more of a curiosity thing. Like if I hear, somebody that I respect saying that this is, a band that is good, or, tells me about a song to listen to or something like that, I'll normally give it a shot. But, they were saying things like, they're saving the genre and stuff like that. But he was also going into detail about why and like what they do differently than than a lot of other bands. It's stuff that's way over my head. You would understand it a lot better than me, but just what they do musically.
I need to listen to the episode and then I'll
You
comment
do.
on that, because I don't feel the feeling that I get when I hear a statement like that. I don't feel that musically they are saving anything. Now, I'm not saying that as a knock to Sleep Token. I like Sleep Token. I
Yeah.
think Sleep Token rules.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're saving anything from anything with their music. Is it good? Absolutely. Do they have some songs that are down a different? Do some of their songs go down a different path than your average metal or metalcore song? Absolutely. There's a lot of funk. There's a lot of like soulful, like I like soul. I like the word soul. There's a lot of soul in a lot of their in a ton of their songs that you just, it gives you a certain, to me, it's the feeling that I get from listening to later Deftones records. Very like dancey, very like in the mood, sort of like of you know, this isn't like a heavy song, but it makes me feel something, that type of thing, which I think Sleep Token does well. And Sleep Token has been compared to Deftones in the past. I don't think they sound anything like Deftones. I think there's, musically speaking, I feel like you could kind of make the comparison, but, and by musically, I'm meaning like the rhythm section and guitar tones. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Didn't you at one time make a statement that was along the lines of that Dayseeker was saving pop?
Did I make that statement?
Something
I probably did.
You may not have said that exactly, but it was something like that. And I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just was curious if you remember.
I may have said that they're saving pop rock. Yeah.
Pop. Okay.
Yeah. I was just trying to get clicks. I was just trying to get clicks, bro. That's a good place to end.
You're welcome for that.
I forgot I did that. That record's just so good though. Let's get out of here.
All right, we're out.
Man.